Throughout history, America's always had an ethnocentric view of the world. Whether it is against African Americans, Muslims, Jews, you name it, they've been hated against. You would think in the 21st century things would be different, and they are to an extent. We've moved on from discriminating against skin color, religion, nation of origin, to now discriminating against sexual orientation and their equality rights. It is my belief and belief of Americans, a belief of 58% of Americans, that discrimination must cease and equality for all must be enacted. In The Economist it says, "Marriage may be for the ages, but it changes by the year, and never perhaps as it changed as quickly as since the 1960s. In Western law, wives are now equal rather than subordinate partners. Interracial marriage is now widely accepted in both statute and in society, and marital failure itself, rather than the fault of one partner, may be grounds for a split. With change, alas, has come strength." Throughout the past 40 years, even in the past decade, society has changed greatly. However, as we our people evolve, so do our attitudes and beliefs must also. A couple of weeks ago, while I was sitting and waiting for my plane that was very delayed, I had the pleasure of meeting a man named Jeremy Splash. I had the privilege to interview him and learn a little about his life story. Jeremy was born and raised just outside of Birmingham, Alabama. He was raised in a very conservative and traditional household that did not support gay rights. When I asked Jeremy to describe himself in 3 words, he said funny, compassionate, and insightful. He said he identifies himself as a teacher, a partner, and a rabid baseball fan. Jeremy also identifies himself as a homosexual. Growing up, he always knew he was gay, but he felt he had to keep it a secret because of the town and his environment and his family. He acted like a typical guy that you think of from the South. He was star of the baseball team, he went to parties, dated girls, and worked hard to achieve good grades. He ended up with a full ride to the University of Alabama to play baseball, where his image was pretty much the same as it was to high school. He was a baseball star who got all the girls still. As time went on, it became more and more difficult for Jeremy to keep his sexuality a secret. Senior year, he just said he couldn't take it anymore, and knowing that he faced the possibility of hatred and discrimination, he came out to his baseball team and his parents. From his baseball team, he was met with a lot of anger and discrimination, but surprisingly from his parents and family, they took the news in stride and accepted him and supported him. Jeremy is now a teacher in Atlanta and still struggles with, his sexuality and the image and people judging him. But he feels whole and said he feels happy, and he's with the man he wants to spend the rest of his life with. He wants nothing more than to get married. My question is, who in the government or anybody in the right mind has any business telling anybody who they can or cannot love? In both the Merriam and Oxford dictionaries and their definition of marriage, they both include those of the same sex. In terms of one of America's favorite presidents, Abraham Lincoln, he once said, 77 years ago, our Father brought earth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. To me, this quote sums it up perfectly. Until we as a country recognize that every man, woman, and child are created equally, regardless of sexual orientation, our epicenter of love will always be off point. Thank you.